This is exactly right.
And begin.
Hello and welcome to My Favorite Murder,
The Minisode.
where we read your shit to you.
Do you like it?
We like it. Okay, this one's called Glowing Eyes in the Basement Window.
No.
And there's no intro.
Okay.
Because this is for real.
Because we got to get to it.
This episode's for real.
Yep.
I grew up in a super small town in northern Wisconsin. I was around 10 years old, and my best friend and I were excited to go to a youth group at her church that night. Since her mom was part of the church's band, we had to get there early for them to rehearse. We got there, we were the only kids, we went down to the basement where the group rooms were located to play around until group started. The basement was broken up into 4 quadrants with each with their own lights. So we only had the lights on in our quadrant of the basement, and the rest of the rooms were dark. It was also dark outside by this time, so I'm feeling a little creeped out by being in this old church. There's also a window in that room that was at ground level, and then it says important. So we found a bouncy ball, and we were bouncing it back and forth to each other when my friend bounces it wildly to me, and I miss the catch. The ball proceeds to bounce off the walls and into the windowsill that is kind of pushed back into the wall. We follow the ball around the room, and when it reaches said windowsill, we both freeze because in this window we can make out the outline of a head with the biggest glowing white eyes. We both look at each other with the same terrified face and start screaming. As if we aren't scared enough already, as we start to run up the stairs, we can hear the figure fucking yelling,
No.
"Help me."
No!
We were practically in tears at this point, and we run to her mom and explain what we saw. She didn't believe us at first, of course, but we were both really distraught, so she finally agreed to investigate. As we went outside, we could hear someone still yelling, "Help me."
No.
This is when my mom's face turned to, this is when her mom's face turned to an oh shit look.
Yeah.
Not knowing what the fuck could be behind this old church, my mom decided to call the cops so they could investigate.
Good.
Once they arrived, we went behind the church to find not a terrifying, glowing-eyed creature, but in fact, a poor old lady who had fallen off a ladder in her backyard. She had broken her leg, so when she saw the basement light turn on, she crawled her way to the ground level window to see if we could help.
Oh my God, it's scarier. It's scarier in reality.
Huge old lady glasses were reflecting the light coming from the basement, which made her look absolutely terrifying. I felt so bad afterwards that it had taken us that long to get her help, but hey, better safe than sorry. SSGGM, your favorite rugby player, Shelby.
Shit, Shelby. Hells yes.
I know.
First of all, my favorite girl's name, Shelby, I'm assuming. That is fucking...
How scary is that?
They really were seeing something. It was real.
And it was yelling, "Help me."
It was real. It was a poor old lady.
And
First of all, lady, what are you doing on your roof?
Lady, why are you on a ladder? You're an old lady. Ask your neighbor to help.
If your glasses are this thick, you should not get up on a ladder.
Absolutely not.
That's the sign I put next to all old lady ladders.
To army crawl to the basement window and is like, help me,
my leg's broken.
And then these little kids start screaming at you.
Also, like, it's like she's been laying there all day, and then it's like the light comes on the church.
She's like,
I'm so thirsty.
Oh God!
I wanted a cup of tea.
Lemon balm tea. Oh, it's awful. So sad.
Shit, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Shelbs. Okay, the subject line of this one is Grandpa stops a robbery with some unlikely help. All right, great. Page 2. Sup, Karen and Georgia and Steven.
Hi.
My dad and I were on a road trip, and we swung by a little house he grew up in with his 7 brothers and sisters, his mom, and his dad, who was the only police officer in town.
Yay.
Their house was also the police station.
Where is this?
New Zealand.
Okay. That suddenly makes total sense.
Right. Seriously, the front 2 rooms were for police business, and the family kept the bedrooms to live in. And I think they shared the kitchen.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. When I asked my dad what the hell they did when they needed to lock somebody up, he said, there was a shed in the garden. I don't know if he was joking. So good. Can you imagine growing up at a police station? I asked Dad what it was like for Grandpa to be the one and only cop in town, and he said he needed needed to improvise sometimes. Then he told me this story. Oh, yeah. Late one night, Grandpa spotted men with flashlights inside the TV and appliance repair shop, obviously robbing the place. Back up from New Plymouth would take over an hour to get there. Grandpa didn't want to wait because, of course, he knew the people who owned the repair shop, and he couldn't just watch while robbers ruined their business. That's when he saw the lights in the local rugby club were on. I like to imagine that he now said, "Fuck protocol," before he took off running for the club. He burst into the room of drinking rugby players.
Oh my God.
And asked if anyone would like to help him catch some bad guys. Yes. They were into it. The town didn't have streetlights back then, so Grandpa had to shepherd the rugby players through the pitch dark, desperately trying to keep them quiet. He positioned them at the front of the shop. Then he snuck around back, took a deep breath, and kicked in the back door, shouting, "Freeze, police." The robbers dropped what they were holding and bolted out the front door, right into about a dozen drunk, enthusiastic rugby players.
Amazing.
As my dad said, quote, "They weren't cops, so they didn't have to hold anything back."
Holy shit.
I feel sorry for the robbers. They had not signed up for anything like what happened to them. And it was dark, so they literally didn't know what hit them.
Oh my God.
They were scraped off the pavement and sent to New Plymouth for processing, and the rugby guys would talk about nothing else for days. I think we all dream that one day we'll get to help take down a criminal. Hopefully we'll be sober and not one of the 12 other huge-ass men when it happens. Stay sexy and help out your local cop, Lorraine.
That is a perfect story.
Isn't that... I mean, you can just see it all of it happening.
And as soon as you said rugby players, I'm like, oh,
yes,
so fun.
Yes.
And drunk ones, too, the best kind. Are there any other kind?
Are there any other kind?
Yeah.
A. B. How good are they at tackling? And punching. Punching and tackling.
Yes.
It's what they do. And it's like, you can't get by them.
No.
That's their whole job.
No.
Is to keep you from getting by them.
That's a brilliant story.
God bless Lorraine.
I'm not going to tell you the name of this one, but I will tell you that the theme of my stories today is grandparents.
Okay.
Because here's another one. Hello, all the wonderful people and animals of MFM.
Hey,
Perfect.
that's one of the best ones yet.
Easy. Love it. I have quite the slew of stories I've been meaning to write into you. Murderous great uncle, survivor friend's mom, high school murders. However, once you mentioned writing and stories about secretives, my cousin... That can't be right. No, I get it. She wrote Secret Lives, but it was in one word.
Oh, she forgot to do the space.
Secret Lives.
About secretives, which is the professional name for.
That's right. My cousin, who introduced me to your podcast, insisted I finally buckle down and write this thing. So here it is. Around April, I was cleaning out my grandparents' house where they had lived for 62 years now. They didn't pass, just had a lot of shit that needed to go, and came across some interesting things in the process. My grandmother, who we call Batchy, has always...
It sounds like batshit.
It does. Batchie. Batchy.
Okay.
Has always been known for the insane amount of photos she takes. So naturally, a lot of what I found was pictures. Lots of family from growing up, some of my mom and her sister when they were kids, etc. As I was working on the living room, cleaning all the wine glasses on display with Batchy, she was telling me about the good old days and how all her, quote, intimate friends would come over and they would have a great time. But, quote, of course not when the children were around. I was taken back by that statement, but I chalked it up to an 84-year-old woman with dementia talking about throwing crazy parties with her friends, getting drunk, playing cards, listening to Elvis records.
I'm into all of those things. And so is Elvis.
In the next few days, I found some interesting birthday cards from my nanny and Grandpa Meatball.
What the fuck?
My cousin's grandparents.
Is this a cartoon character writing into us?
I just love that. Like, funny names are the best. In the hall closet, which I again was like, they have a very uncomfortable sense of humor, but chalked it up to nothing other than that. And then the next paragraph says, okay, so I was wrong. It certainly wasn't nothing. I moved on to clean their bedroom. At this point, my Batchy and Papa were staying at my mom's house so I could be slightly more productive, and found a box of pictures under the bed. Not being at all surprised by this because they were quite literally boxes of pictures everywhere, I opened the box to look at the photos and possibly have a few laughs about my mom's old boyfriends or whatever. All caps. Nope. Not pictures of my mom's old boyfriends or photos of us growing up. Instead, I found photos of from my grandparents, all caps, swinger parties.
No.
Steven is pointing at you have photos?
What?
Holy shit. Swear. Oh my God.
Oh no, what I'm looking at right now.
She sent them to us?
Oh
She took them and sent them to us.
I love her. Are they old people or are they young? Were they young?
They're middle-aged people, but it's in the 60s or 70s. I mean, 70s or 80s. But look, they're all in one bed, like Charlie Bucket's grandparents. It's a bunch of adults in a bed under a sheet together, smiling like little devils.
God, they are having so much fun. She's touching his penis in that photo, but you can't tell.
And laughing her ass off too.
Oh my God, they're like all like in one bed together.
Oh my God.
Let me see more. Holy shit!
There's a lot of them.
You guys.
Oh my God.
They're like all naked and
how many of these can we post? I feel like
probably.
we can't post these.
I don't.
We don't know.
Steven's shaking his head
unless
now.
Steven goes through and puts tiny black bars across everybody's eyes.
Look at this one. The thing is, like, they're in these suggestive positions, but they're cracking up.
They're just being kind of funny, dirty, drunk.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it seems like. But also in a room that's paneled in
wood paneling,
toile wallpaper, and then wood paneling on the bottom half. It's this looks like 1980 to me.
Yeah.
It's so brown.
And they look like 1980s, 40s. You know what I mean? Like they're in their 40s.
Yes.
But they look old to us. Okay.
It also looks like people who probably drank a ton and were bored.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, you all have a mustache or a beard.
Right.
We might as well just fuck each other.
Like you two fucked each other in high school. Like you've already seen his dick. Let's
Yes.
just I want to see your honey's dick or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Let me finish this. Don't put that away. I want to keep looking at it.
Okay.
So it's fine. My grandparents swing. So those are her grandparents, swinger parties, and a few sex toys from way back in the day when my mom and aunts were growing up. And then I was mortified. I immediately took pictures of the photos and sent them to my cousins so they could be just as scarred as I was.
That's what I would do.
And had to take a break from cleaning the house for a little while.
Yeah, I bet you did.
As I pieced all these things together, I realized what I had just stumbled upon. These were all old people that I knew. All people I had dinner with and played cards with when I was young. My nanny and grandpa Meatball were both featured in these photos, as well as a few other close friends of my grandparents. Needless to say, I can never really look at my grandparents the same way ever again.
Oh shit, the grandparents are still alive?
Oh, yeah, she was just cleaning their house.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought...
No, their battery's fucking kicking it. And I took my cousins down with me. There's still a lot of that house that needs to get cleaned out, but quite frankly, I'm horrified to do so.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the story of how I learned my grandparents were swingers. Stay sexy and don't look under your grandparents' bed. Delaney.
Okay,
Delaney.
Delaney?
Like Melanie, but with a D.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm just saying,
my God.
she just blew up her grandparents' spot so hard, like, because not that many people call their grandmother Batchy.
Yeah, totally. So people are going to know.
There's going to be people in that hometown that are like, excuse me, a what?
Yeah.
That's really insane.
This is just like, they're having so much fun.
Guys, sex is natural and sex is fun.
And not everyone does it. But
everyone's grandparents do it and take pictures of it.
Oh my God.
It also looks like they're doing it just to be like, just take a picture of this. We're being dirty on purpose.
Could be.
And what a gorgeous expression of human love.
That was fun. And then just the photo, like the fact that there are photos just made it.
I mean, I'm shocked.
What is the bra women are talking about? Why, it's the original True Body Bra by trueandco.com. Over 500,000 women have bought it and swear by it. It took over 6 years of collecting data from 7 million women to make this game-changing bra, and you won't believe how good it feels when you put it on. The buttery soft fabric smooths you out in all the right places. And you know what's game-changing? The best-selling True Body collection now comes in over 70 wire-free options. Choose from scoop or V-neck, convertible straps, bright colors, neutrals, skin tones, and more. You will want them all. And no wonder True & Co. has sold over 500,000 of the original True body bras. The Today Show calls it game-changing. Good Housekeeping says it's the ultimate lounge bra. And Real Simple Magazine says it provides heavenly 24-hour comfort. So try the original True body bra by True & Co. today with free and easy returns. Save 15% now when you go to trueandco.com/murder and enter the code MURDER. That's TRUEANDCO.com. Goodbye.
This is a lighthearted one.
Okay.
That really veers from the standard norm. If you have children in the car and you're listening to this, this is definitely rated NC-17.
Fun.
Ex-husband.
Steven, plug your ears.
Steven, get out of the room, but keep it recording. The subject line of this is ex-husband's grandpa's porn.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Hey, Karen, Georgia, Steven, and assorted animals. Before I got married, in parentheses, never again, my now ex and I moved into his parents' in-law apartment in their house. Also a bad idea. His paternal grandparents lived there previously and had passed away, and some of their items were left in the apartment. My ex was unpacking the linen closet and suddenly started yelling for me to come upstairs. When I came up, he was pissing his pants laughing and holding an old VHS tape in his hands. Apparently, he found a box of tapes at the bottom of the closet. He remembered that his grandpa took tons of photos and had a camcorder running all the time. My ex said he was wondering what nostalgic footage he would find, and he was planning on hooking up an old VCR to watch it when he flipped the first tape over to read the handwritten label. Instead of seeing Baby's First Christmas or Uncle Fred and Aunt Jane's Wedding, he saw, printed neatly in his grandfather's handwriting, big tits and pink clits. We both fucking died laughing, and I was tempted to include the anecdote in my speech at the upcoming wedding. But his parents would have spontaneously combusted, so I was sworn to secrecy. But I'm divorced now, so fuck it. Stay sexy and get rid of your porn before your grandchildren find it, Laura.
Or don't. And like, what if that was just like a baby's birthday, but he was like, I'm gonna fuck with my grandkids when they go through my shit.
Oh my God, that would be fucking hilarious.
Right?
He's a little older, maybe he's going a little organic in the brain. He's like, this is funny, I don't care.
This is what they get for looking through my thing.
That is
most that's her new t-shirt.
I mean, for real. It's so disturbing.
I won't repeat it, but you'll see it in our merch store. The
t-shirt we're going to get made is going to be the drawing of a very old man's hand holding a VHS. And the writing's going to be really small, so you can't see it unless you're close.
Yeah. Okay, I love it.
God damn, that made me laugh.
Can I just do a real quick one?
Please.
This one's called My Grandmother Bit a Nazi.
Yes.
And I feel like it's like a good time in our lives.
Hells yeah.
For this. Hello, longtime listener, first time writer. My grandmother, Wilma, grew up in Germany in World War II. Some of the families in her community took turns hiding a box in their houses. This box contained valuables that belonged to the other Jewish families in town. Once the Nazi soldiers heard of this, they wanted to put a stop to it. When the soldiers came to my grandmother's door, her dog was barking. This gets sad. So a fucking Nazi shot and killed her dog.
Yep.
Wilma, who was 10 to 12 years old at this time, was so upset she bit the Nazi.
Yes.
Her family was punished and she eventually was able to flee to England before settling in Canada. She never spoke much about her childhood, but someone from a community paper interviewed her and published her story in a paper. I thought you would like the story about a badass little girl biting a Nazi, Erin.
Now I'm crying.
Oh, I hate Nazis so much.
Also, it's just like, think of any fucking World War II Nazi movie that you've seen and how oppressive and awful their presence is. And they go into these towns and take over and fucking turn people against each other and they're monsters. And this little girl is just like, you fucking killed my dog. I don't give a shit what you do.
Yeah.
You killed my dog.
I'm going to do the only thing I can. I'm going to bite you.
Yeah. And you
So
fucking deserve it. You goddamn Nazi. I love Wilma.
Wilma. Yay.
I also love that's such a great idea that like then she emigrates to England, she emigrates to Canada, she fucking lives her private life.
Yeah.
And then somebody sits her down and goes, hey, give me some highlights.
Do you have any stories?
She's like, yeah, I got a story for you.
I've been a Nazi once.
Yeah. as a child.
And I'm here to tell the tale.
So the subject line is golf wielding grandmother. Lighthearted.
Great.
Hi, Karen, Georgia, Stephen, and animals. I stumbled upon your show recently, and it has made my commute to work and law school so much more enjoyable. I did make the mistake of listening to your episode about the leaf man too close to bedtime and ended up sleeping with the lights on because obviously murderers wait until you turn them off. But otherwise, I'm so impressed with your wonderful mix of humor and tragedy with these dark and fascinating stories.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks. My hometown isn't about a murder, but an attempted robbery. One day, my grandma phoned to say that she was in the hospital for a broken arm, which on its face seems rather ordinary. However, the story comes out that my grandma woke up in the middle of the night to noises coming from down the hall. She lives alone and doesn't have any pets, so she knew something was up. Naturally, she grabs one of my grandpa's old golf clubs, sneaks out of her room to investigate, and finds a large man rifling through her things in the living room. At this point, most people would call for help, but apparently my badass grandma thought that she would handle the situation on her own. After all, she had lived through World War II in Latvia before
That's where my family's from.
Is that right?
Yes.
Fuck yeah. So she was forced to flee to the U.S. as a teenager after some of her family were killed. Yeah, she doesn't fuck around.
No, she's not fucking around.
She doesn't scare easy. So she looked around her house to make sure the man was alone. Smart. Popped out with her golf club raised and started beating the thief over the head while shouting at him in Latvian.
Good girl.
He was so startled and probably concussed that he dropped what he grabbed, resisted the grandma attack very briefly, which is when my grandma's arm was broken.
Oh my God.
And then fled into the night. He was never caught by the police, but thankfully he also never returned. Afterwards, my mom gave my grandma a lecture about the importance of calling the cops, the risks of attacking intruders without knowing if they are armed or not, and how she could have made an escape instead. My grandma promised that she would be more responsible, but when we visited her next, we discovered that she had placed a golf club in every room of her house.
Oh, grandma.
Anyways, you're awesome, so make sure you stay sexy and always carry a golf club. Love, Erica.
Oh my God.
Fuck yeah, Latvian grandma doesn't take shit.
She couldn't have hit that hard with that, right? Like,
I mean,
probably just surprised the shit out of this dude.
Yeah. Well, it probably hurt and maybe like knocked him a little senseless, but yeah.
And then also this woman screaming at you in a foreign language.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow, that's
so good.
Incredible.
And I like that one.
Yeah, I do too.
Those were all amazing.
Those were great. And
All of
listen, any story you have that's fucking crazy, just send them to us. myfavoritemurder@gmail.com.
And stay sexy.
And don't get murdered.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Elvis, you want a cookie?
Good boy. Nice one.